The time has come. This week, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, will finally be released. So to celebrate, I want to talk about Star Wars comics. And no, not the current Marvel run of Star Wars comics. I'm talking about Dark Horse era Star Wars. I'm talking about a series that was announced mere months before the Disney buyout and was tragically cut short when Disney took the rights back and gave it to Marvel. I'm talking about the 2013 Dark Horse series, Star Wars. In 2012, Dark Horse announced to be releasing a new ongoing Star Wars series simply titled Star Wars. Written by Brian Wood and illustrated by Carlos Deonda, this series took place between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and told stories about what was happening with our favorite characters at this time. Also in 2012, Disney announced that they had purchased Lucasfilm and all the rights to Star Wars. Now at the time there was a lot of speculation that Disney would take the rights from Dark Horse and give them to Marvel, which they own. Dark Horse publisher Mike Richardson assured fans that they still had the rights for this foreseeable future and would keep putting out Star Wars comics. That is, of course, until January 2014 when Disney announced that Marvel will be the exclusive home for all new Star Wars comics in the following year. This effectively ended Dark Horse's Star Wars line when Brian Wood's last issue was released, issue 20. Which is a shame because not only is this one of the best Star Wars comics Dark Horse has ever put out, it's probably the closest anyone has ever come to the look and feel of the classic trilogy. Now, the era between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back is a well-traveled area in the expanded universe. There have been plenty of stories detailing what had happened in that time frame. Like this book about zombie stormtroopers. Really? But this was the first time we got to see characters deal with the events of the film in personal ways. We got to see Leia grieve for the destruction of Alderaan. We got to see the Emperor punish Vader for getting the Death Star blown up. We got to meet new and interesting characters that fit well into the universe, and Carlos Deonda's art was the perfect mix of cartoony but not too cartoony. And his ships, these are some of the best spaceships in the business. Especially the Black X-Wings. Before J.J. Abrams decided to give a Black X-Wing to Inside Llewyn Davis, Brian Wood and Carlos Deonda gave one to Luke, Wedge, Leia, and the rest of Rogue Squadron. There is nothing cooler than a Black X-Wing. And yes, I said Leia was a part of Rogue Squadron, and in fact, this series may be Leia's finest hour. We see her be an active member of the rebellion, making plans with Mon Mothma, going out onto the battlefield. Yeah, she was on the front lines in Jedi, but I'd argue that here in this series, this is where we see her do her most work in the fight for freedom. And honestly, knowing that she's going to be a general in The Force Awakens, this series makes that transition make more sense than even the current Marvel miniseries that was officially sanctioned and in-universe canon. Dark Horse's self-titled Star Wars comic ended at issue 20 in August of 2014. In January 2015, Marvel released their own self-titled Star Wars comic, taking place in the same time frame between A New Hope and Empire. It even covers a lot of the same ground, how Leia deals with the destruction of her homeworld, how Vader gets punished, him finding out that Luke blew up the Death Star. And while Marvel's current Star Wars line is excellent and in some cases actually surpasses Dark Horse's when it comes to matching the look and feel of the classic trilogy, to me, Brian Wood and Carlos Deonda's Star Wars can't be beat, or at least hasn't yet. This series wasn't trying to be the movies, it wasn't trying to hit your nostalgia, it wasn't trying to tie into an upcoming film. It was just trying to be Star Wars. And it wound up being the best Star Wars had ever been since 1983. Luckily, Marvel is keeping this series in print on digital sites like Comixology or wherever you get your digital comics, so if you haven't, go check them out. You will not be disappointed. Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet what some of your favorite Star Wars comics are. Did you prefer the Dark Horse run or do you think the Marvel run blows it out of the water? We're seeing The Force Awakens on Thursday. I'm going to put up a reaction video on Friday in addition to another video on Friday that will probably also be about Star Wars in some capacity. So until then, as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with a friend. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. But it wasn't always like this. When Batman was first introduced in the comics, there was no indication that Bruce Wayne and Batman had two distinct voices. And when the character was adapted from page to screen, whether it be live action or animated, the adaptations followed suit.
It felt like a smaller scale, like a very, very small scale movie, because
You think so?
the whole galaxy wasn't at stake in that movie. It was the planet of Naboo.